A corrupt video, usually a big problem, usually ruins your entire project. I returned from Cuba to discover that half of my camera footage and all of my GoPro footage for this docufilm had just disappeared. I was very upset. All that work had just vanished. But then I realized something. And before I state my realization, I should probably get this out of the way. Upon returning from Cuba, on Tuesday, February 11th, 2020, my grandfather Ted passed away. It was sudden, it was a shock, but it wasn't scary. He passed away peacefully, thankfully. After his funeral was over, I pondered this video quite a bit. I thought to myself, even if the footage didn't corrupt, I didn't have a theme for it in the first place. In Cuba, while filming, I was trying to come up with a theme. I was trying to come up with something to tie the whole video together and give it meaning, but nothing would come to mind the whole trip. And I'm starting to think that maybe that happened for a reason. Maybe I wasn't supposed to come up with an idea in Cuba. Maybe this video is supposed to be about Ted. To begin, Ted was an amazing man. He was an incredible husband, father, grandfather, and brother. Everybody loved him. Whenever someone was introduced to him, they couldn't get over him. He was kind, funny in a really cheesy way, and easy to talk to. He was a light in so many people's lives. Ted wasn't just my grandfather. He was my best friend. I didn't even call him Dziadek, which is Polish for grandpa. I called him Ted. He liked it. I liked it. It stuck. He's actually my step-grandfather. My grandmother met him after they both had kids. Despite the fact that he's not related to me by blood, he loved me more than any grandfather ever could have. 3 of his grandkids moved to Poland about 6 years ago, and I was all he had left. He picked me up from school, took me to and from hockey and soccer, and was at my house every day. He was a huge chunk of my life. Ever since Ted left, I've actually felt this weight get lifted off of me. For a few months now, I've been dealing with some things. Anxious feelings, along with other mental struggles. It's been tough, but I've been able to cope and deal with it myself. But after a week of Ted passing, those feelings seem to have just vanished. It's almost like he took them with him. Despite the great deal of sadness his death caused, I feel like it's made me appreciate my family on a whole new level. I've gotten closer with my cousins and aunts and uncles, and I'm really grateful for that. I've got a few things here that are his that I'd like to share with you. First, his pocket knives. I never actually saw him carry this one around. Gold and brown one, but this one, the multi-tool, this one he took everywhere. He would be filing his nails all the time. He always had this in his back pocket. He never left the house without this in his back pocket. And he even got in trouble for carrying this around because he took it into a museum one time and got kicked out because he just brought a knife into a museum. He completely forgot it was there. So yeah, these are gonna sit in my office on the shelf so I can see them every day. I'm really happy I have them. And last but not least, certainly not least, we have this Kit Kat bar. Ted, ever since I can remember, would sneak me candy all the time, especially these, like over the past 4 years, these were his go-to to sneak me, because he wouldn't want my mom seeing him give me this candy, so he would sneak it to me all the time. He'd shove it in my pocket, he'd come to my window, open it up and stick the candy in there, he'd give it to me in his car when he picked me up. He always made sure his car had at least one of these in there so he could give it to me if he came to pick me up. Before he passed, he left this at his front door and told my babcha, this is for Jack tomorrow, and he never got to give it to me. So yeah, thanks, Ted. Peter's coming in first. Is actually what's also crazy about this. He never got me the dark chocolate ones. This is a dark chocolate one with a 70 on it. That's how old he was when he passed away. So I find that pretty interesting. People think I eat Kit Kats really weird. Cheers. Tastes really good, Ted. I love you, Ted.